Hello everyone, this is a D Pharmacy Pharmaceutics 1 class, subject code 1.1T, Unit 5. In this class, we are going to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of sterilization by ethylene oxide. Sterilization by ethylene oxide comes under gaseous sterilization, and like all other methods, this method also having some advantages and some disadvantages. So first of all, we are going to discuss the advantages of sterilization by ethylene oxide. Sterilization by ethylene oxide is suitable for thermolabile substances. Here, in case of this gaseous sterilization, application of heat is not essential. In slightly heated conditions, the sterilization occurs better, but the temperature is around 40 degrees centigrade. So easily we can sterilize the thermolabile substances by applying ethylene oxide. The second one is it can cause damage to only a few materials. You know, ethylene oxide is a very reactive compound, but it has been seen that in spite of being a reactive compound, the damage done to the materials or the substances is very minimum, and they only it can do only damage to very few materials. So that is another advantage of sterilization by ethylene oxide. The next one is its penetration power. Ethylene oxide, compared to other gaseous substances, it is having more penetration power. So depending on the penetration power, the sterilization of substances can be done even in their final packaging system. So that is definitely an advantage, and it is also, this method is also very reliable. Sterilization, we can rely on this method, that okay, effective sterilization will be taking place. And the next point is the it is useful for moisture sensitive substances. We know that some methods employ steam, like the moist heat method. So in those cases, we cannot sterilize moisture sensitive substances by applying steam. And that is the advantage of ethylene oxide, that it is very useful for the substance, those who are moisture sensitive, those which will degrade in presence of moisture, it will go for hydrolysis. So those kind of substances, sterilization by ethylene oxide is very helpful. Now, just like the advantages, ethylene oxide does have some disadvantages, and we are going to discuss these things as well. First of all, it is a very slow method. The method of sterilization is very slow. It's a time consuming method. And if we are going to set a large scale sterilization unit, that is going to be very expensive. That is another one drawback of this method. And the running cost of this method is very high. That is another one disadvantage. uh, because we know that ethylene oxide is inflammable, and it is having toxicity also. So a sufficient means of precautions must be taken for sterilization of the substances. If we are going to do by ethylene oxide, precautions must be taken. And we know that toxic materials like ethylene chlorhydrin can be produced in some of the cases. So that is another one disadvantage of this method. Next, we are going to discuss some of the applications of ethylene oxide, sterilization by ethylene oxide. These applications are, it can be used for sterilization of thermolabile substances like rubber, plastics, etc. So these are the things which in presence of heat they will go for degradation. They can go for degradation. So ethylene oxide is very much useful for those substances. And the next is, it is also used for the sterilization of delicate and sensitive diagnostic tools. So that is another one application of ethylene oxide, sterilization by ethylene oxide. So we can use some delicate and sensitive diagnostic tools. We can sterilize those things by using ethylene oxide. The third application is it can sterilize the powders packed in a plastic or cellophane envelopes. So depend because ethylene oxide can penetrate through the cellophane membrane or the plastic layer. So it can be sterilized by using different powder samples in a enveloped or covered in a plastics or cellophane envelopes. And the next one is sterilization of other instruments like needles, syringes, and different surgical instruments. So these things also can be done by sterilization of these substance. These instruments can be done by using ethylene oxide. So that's all for this class. In my next class, I will be discussing the sterilization by different mechanical methods. Thank you.